Okay, class, we are talking about lesson 6.4b. It's page 3112 out of the textbook. And you need to complete a worksheet on squares and rhombuses and turn this in along with your fill-in notes to the substitute. Make sure you get them from the substitute and fill them in. Okay. Section 6.4b, rhombuses and squares. Rhombus, parallelogram with four congruent sides. A square is a parallelogram that has four congruent sides and four right angles. So we're talking about those two shapes, those two quadrilaterals. Theorem 6.9, each diagonal of a rhombus bisects two angles of the rhombus. It cuts it in half, guys. Okay, that means these will be equal. And these ones will be equal. Okay, so know that it bisects the two angles of the rhombus. It says find the measure of each angle. I need to go back for a minute. I forgot something. Well, it's also interesting in 6.10, the diagonals of rhombus are perpendicular. So they create a 90-degree angle. Okay, they're not only perpendicular, that's on the bisector, so these are going to be equal as well, those sides. We have congruent triangles. If you want to use side angle side, those two triangles would be equal to each other. So realize that. That's why the sides bisect as well. Well, let's move on here and go back and find this degree. Angle 1. Well, if it bisects, it's the same. It's 78. Well, that's 90 right there. So 78 plus 90 is 168. That makes angle 212. That's 180 minus 168. Angle 3 is equal to angle 2, so it's also 12. Angle 4, well, that's the same thing as angle 1. It's going to be 78. Okay, how do we know? Because we know 1's 12, so we go 180 minus 102. That's the 90 and the 12. Therefore, angle 4 would be 78. Making angle 5 also 78. Angle 6 again is going to be 12, and 7 is also 12. Cuts this into four congruent triangles. Theorem 6.12, if one diagonal of a parallelogram bisects two angles of that parallelogram, then it is a rhombus. So if our line cuts this in such a way that it bisects these, then we have our parallelogram as a rhombus. Let's move on here. 6.13. If the diagonals of a parallelogram are perpendicular, then the parallelogram is a rhombus. Example 2. MNPQ is a rhombus. Angle N is 120. Angle N is 120, so we'll label that as 120. Parallelogram, the opposite angle is the exact same. It's also 120. We said this thing is a rhombus, so we know those are there. We know that 1 and 3 are going to be congruent to each other. Based on the previous example, therefore, let's see, 180 minus 120 makes 60. We're going to divide that by 2, so each one is 30. Angle 1's 30, angle 3 is 30. Well, it bisects, so 4 is 30 and 2 is also 30. Find each numbered angle and then find AC and BD. Find their lengths. Find each angle. Okay, we want to find each numbered angle and then find AC and BD. That would be the diagonals of a rhombus. Okay, well, if we know angle A up here is 38, then we also know that angle 4 right now is going to be 38. Angle 4 is going to be the same. It's also 38. We know that this is 90 degrees because the diagonals are perpendicular to each other. Therefore, angle 5 is 180 minus 128. That's 90 plus 38, leaving us with 52. If 5 is 52, then we know angle 1 is also 52, and angle 2, because they bisect, is also 52. Now the lengths of the diagonals. Well, if A to the middle layer is 26, then this is also 26, and AC has a length of 52. There again, so same idea. We've got 22 here, 22 on this side, so that length BD would be 44. All the properties of rhombus and rectangles apply to a square. Because remember, a square is a rhombus and it's also a rectangle. Label everything we know about this square. Well, we know these things are 90. You know that these are all congruent because rectangles say the diagonals are congruent. Okay, and from rhombuses we know they bisect each other. So those are all going to be equal. Okay, these angles are all going to be the same too. If that's going to be 90 right there and it bisects it based on it being a rhombus, then this is 45 and that's 45. And all these pieces are 45. Even though it's on tape, I still can't draw very well. It's still 45 all the way around. Okay, find each value of the figure as a square. So we want to find the A, the X, the Y, and that'd be it. Well, first of all, the A. These sides are congruent. So A is equal to 3A minus 2. So when I solve that, I'm going to subtract 3A from both sides. You got negative 2A is negative 2. So A is 1. Now X and Y. Well, we know that diagonals are perpendicular, so X is 90 degrees, it's an angle. And Y, well, from what we did just a minute ago, we know that this angle is 45. 45 degrees. Example 5. Find the numbered angles. There's a lot of them right here. As we go through this, we know 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all equal to 90. We know everything else. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 all equal 45 degrees. Okay, what you need to do right now is get from the substitute the rhombus and square worksheet. And you want to work that in class, and when you are done, you are to turn that into the sub. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.